Hi everybody, welcome back to another instructional video of the JSE Data Foundry. So the topic of today is cloning and customizing data products. So what's the scenario here? So I want you to imagine that you found a product and in the subscriptions environment, in this case my equity members, and you've basically found that you like the product but you want to tweak it. So how does one do that? So let's just have a look at this data first. So if I was to look at the HTTP content channel and run the data, so this is giving me equity members on the Namibian Stock Exchange, which is kind of what I want, but let's imagine a scenario where I'm actually interested in the JSE Stock Exchange equity members. So that's what I'm going to show you real quick. The first thing to do is to open the product inside of the product builder. And one thing you can do right here, if it's your product, is just change it. But of course, if you're changing it, you've affected what my equity members means. So the solution that we offer is to clone the product. And what cloning will do is it will literally create a new product and copy and paste the existing product into it, which will then allow you to make changes to that product to your heart's desire without affecting your other product that you cloned from. Okay, so the process is really simple. Firstly, I'm going to click on clone. Now what you'll notice, it has created a cloned My Equity Members tab here. And it's selected it. The name is cloned My Equity Members. Now at this point, you can get rid of your My Equity Members, close the tab on the left, and then you're ready to start working on your cloned product. So it's really as simple as that. I'm going to take you through all of the dimensions today of what you can do on a product. The first one and the most obvious is to give it a name. So I'm going to call it My Equity Members on JSE Stock Exchange. So you can personalize the name of the product so that it makes sense to you. The next line is non-editable. This is the so-called base product. So the base product is an advanced topic, but basically this is pointing to the underlying data store that this product is utilizing within the JSE Data Foundry. So you don't need to understand too much about it, except that you are literally querying an endpoint called client roles, version 1 of that, on a thing called JSE Explorer.odata. And the next option you have here is a standard product yes/no switch. Now, this option is not available to all configurators of Data Foundry. We have a profile called a standard product builder, and typically this will only be assigned to JSE staff. So by switching this tag on, I've effectively made this product a standard product that other people as well as clients can also see. Okay, so for now, while I'm working on it, I'm not going to do that. And then we have the ability to edit the description of the product. Now this is important because the name and the description of the product will be searched and indexed in our Find Products module. So really, if we look at this, it says standard product setup to get all client roles with a status of current or suspended in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Now, it's interesting, the name already says Johannesburg Stock Exchange, but in fact, we can see that we're bringing back the Namibian Stock Exchange. So we clearly have a problem in this product and we need to make it align to the description. So all parent hierarchy relationships are also included for your convenience. So what you can see here is Exchange Client, which is a parent object in a hierarchy, and its relevant information. And it only shows equity issuers. Yeah, okay, so that's all good. So at this point, I don't really need to change anything in the description. So this is the details tab. The name, whether it's a standard product, and only standard product builders can set this, and the description is configured here. I'm going to move on and save and go to the properties tab. Now the properties tab shows all the different properties that are available on the base product for inclusion. And as you can see by the checkbox next to the different attributes, if something is checked, you hope to find it, and you will find it in your data preview, your live data preview. So let me give you an example. If I was to unselect alpha code, so there's alpha code Ben, keep your eye on that. If I was to unselect that, let me just put auto refresh on and just click on it on and off, you can see that it's literally removing it and adding it to the data preview. So this is how you can configure what attributes you want. Why is this important? Well, you might not want all the attributes that are available to you, and you might want to optimize the size of the product that you're actually retrieving over the internet. So if we go down this list, we see some interesting ones. Tax number, I might want that if it's available. Doesn't seem to be. So I'm going to remove it. VAT number, I don't want. And then you can see the exchange client that is related to this entity and its constituents in terms of properties. And again, financial year end, you can switch on and off. And you can even go up to the consolidated client level. So this is now a 3-level hierarchy, which goes from the actual equities member to the exchange client that it belongs to the consolidated client that it belongs to. Now you'll notice that you don't see a lot of consolidated clients in the preview. And that's because all exchange clients does not necessarily have a consolidated client. Okay, so I'm going to really simplify this product, and I'm going to get rid of all this complicated master data for a second and just look at what it looks like. So I now see equity members, I think, on the Namibian Stock Exchange and their alpha code and their long name and their status and their ID. So let's assume I really want a crisp, minimized product that just gives me this information. Then you have options to order things by, right? So let's assume for a second I want to order by alpha code first and do that in descending order. You can see the order of the alpha code changing. If I make it ascending, it rearranges with BEN first. I can then choose to order it by up to 4 different things. So I'm going to do it by status. And again, ascending. So here I only want current statuses, or rather current statuses first. Okay, so if we get a full extract of this data, we would expect to see anything with a status of not current lower down in the document. And that's really it. That's what you can do on the properties tab. In summary, you can simply click on the properties you want included in your payload, and you can think and configure the order, compounding order of how you want the data to be ordered in your return. So at this point, you could save it. Right, moving on. Filtering the data. So this is where you have a lot of power to now filter the data according to your custom requirements. And a lot of the time, this is where you would be fiddling if you want to change the behavior of a product. Now, as you can see, we've got a visual filter builder here, and it's currently set to the exchange must be equal to the Namibian Stock Exchange, and the status must be equal to current, or suspended. And the role type must be equal to equities member. So that is what is currently shaping the characteristics of this product. Now, like we said, we want this to be the JSE. So it's quite simple to edit these things in place. So I can simply edit this and see there's 2 different exchanges on the JSE itself, as well as the Namibian Stock Exchange. And by simply editing this filter expression, you can see that the results returned to me has completely been transformed and is now only showing Johannesburg Stock Exchange members. Showing current and suspended members. Again, in the full extract, you'll see that coming out of the mix. So we are now living up to our name of my equity members on the JSE Stock Exchange. Okay. So just to demonstrate, we can create extra rules or filters here. So let's think of a scenario that might be applicable to us. So what I'm going to do is add a group to this filter expression now, and I'm going to configure it to only bring back, for fictitious reasons, any equities member where the alpha code begins with a B. And when I click away, you can see that now only alpha codes with the first character being a B are being returned to me. And this is very powerful. So you get the idea here. You can build up a complete reflection of your requirement by configuring a series of and or and filter statements in this editor. Okay, so for now, I'm going to remove this fictitious requirement. Remember, the reason we came here was to change the product so that it brings back the Johannesburg Stock Exchange data as opposed to the Namibian Stock Exchange data. And I was able to achieve that very simply. At this point, I can save. So let's review. We've updated the name. We've realized that our description is actually asking us for Johannesburg Stock Exchange, and we were returning the incorrect things. We went to the filter page. We fixed the problem by fixing the filter. We also reduced the properties by deselecting a bunch of properties that we didn't want, and we affected the order of the data by setting the order as indicated on the screen. So the last thing we can now do is we can determine what output formats and what channels we want our product to be supported over. Now, as you can see here, all of them are currently supported. So by switching on and off these little switches here, you're expressing that this product does not support XL over FTP or over HTTP. Now, you'll notice when we came here, everything was switched on. So all of these settings were copied across from the cloned product. Okay, so you could, for reasons of simplicity, decide that you don't want any of these things to be on, except, for instance, the JSON over HTTP option. And this is how you would facilitate that. This would mean that the only subscriptions you allow is over HTTP JSON. So let's assume that is the requirement. I'm going to save this now. Now what you notice is that you don't have any subscriptions, and that's correct. So when you cloned the product, you created a brand new product with a default config that was copied and pasted across, right? But a subscription is a very personal thing. It's a function of the user. And so when you cloned it, none of those subscriptions came with. So at this point, you actually need to subscribe to your own product to run it, just as before. So you've saved it now, and you can simply click on subscribe, and you get offered the manage option, which, as you know, will take you into your subscriptions module. It will open up my equity members on the JSE Stock Exchange, and it would have created a default token for you. And at this point, you're ready to go. So there you have it. There's your product. There are 53 candidate equity members on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. And you'll notice that the information has been reduced to only the attributes that you were interested in. And that's really it. As before, you can configure your access token configuration, as I discussed in another video. Please have a look. But essentially, well done. You've just cloned your first product and customized it. And before you ask, yes, you can open your cloned product here, and you can in fact clone it again and do something else with it. So you have options. The same process can be executed as many times as you should require. Well, I think that's it. You will find your product in the Find Products. So if you click on Find and maybe search for the word My, which I like to do. Actually, that's the wrong one. It's this one. I just noticed that. The JSON channel was enabled and nothing else is enabled, and I've subscribed to JSON. So this is the actual product right here. And as before, you can run the product right from here. It's completely consistent with everything that you've had explained to you up to date. So when you open a product, you have an option to clone it. Once you've done that, you can change any of the settings on the product that's editable. So you can't really break anything. Just try, play around with it. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.